Hi, I'm Tracy Taylor. I'm here at Art Central on Monterey, the art supplies, the only art supply in town right now. And it's a big day. I'm going to be painting, and my favorite paints are Holbein, and I've been using Holbein for 40 years. And so Etty, who owns the store, says if you say code Tracy, that you can get 35% off Holbein. Now, I'm a paint snob, okay? It took her 10 years to carry this paint because Holbein is a difficult company to work with. They're out of Japan. But I'm a tuber, which means I mix colors, but mostly I'm a tuber. And they make beautiful paints. They've been in business for over 100 years, and these are my favorite colors. You never paint with colors you don't love. That's a tip from Tracy. Always use colors you love. And I'm doing a series now called Little Shrines Everywhere with Happy Cats. So I'm going to be painting this little happy cat while we're talking. I've been painting watercolors since I was 14 years old. I sold my first 4 paintings at a open house at high school for $5 each, and went and bought myself my first real set of watercolor paints, and that was Winsor Newton. And I evolved over the years to Holbein because they're a little more intense color, and I like intense color. Paints are a preference, and like Winsor Newton's a little bit more grainy, Daniel Smith's a little bit grainy. This doesn't have much grain to it. It's a more refreshing pigment. All natural pigments, light fast.
Now, Tracy, when you say you're a tube painter, does that mean you use the color directly out of the tube?
Yeah, a lot of times
All right.
This is my palette.
Oh, how beautiful.
But I have a lot of paint on it. This palette's probably like 10 years old, and I do mix a little bit here and there, but I have my oranges and my reds, my greens, my blues, and then when it gets dirty, I just take it over the hot water and wash it off. That's the beauty of watercolors. And I'm a tuber and I'm not. Like, I use a lot of orange and pinks. I use a couple purples at the same time. I do blues and purples, but I need the base color. Like, there's this horizon blue. I can't make that blue. There's these purples I can't make, even though I've tried and tried and tried. And I know in some old school with watercolors, they talk about you can't use white. And I'm self-taught, and I forgot to go to college, so I couldn't figure out how to make pinks. I kept buying all these different pinks, but I couldn't get my pure pink, and so I had to introduce white, and I thought, well, maybe it's a rule for somebody else. It's not going to be a rule for me, and because I use white a lot because pink is my favorite color, and so I use it a lot. This is my neighbor's yard. This is a real picture of a blue jay having peanuts, and I'm still working on that a little bit. It was like a natural, where I can use my own photograph when I worked, so that was really fun. And I just finished a series of butterflies and cactuses, butterflies and cactuses. 11 of them are at the Framers right now. I show at a gallery in Avila. This is when I was in Hawaii in October. Pineapples. I'm doing a logo for a company right now, and we're starting with the cricket. I'm also doing a book design right now, cover and they want me to do a burn pile. But all the pictures he sends me, they don't look like the kind of burn pile I like, so whatever. I'm just lucky to have jobs right now. I'm a jobber. I've been painting professionally for, let's put it this way, I never had a job except for painting. I'm a professional volunteer with kids. My kids are grown up now, so I just do one-on-one with people when we want to do it. Painting with people is probably my most favorite thing because you get going. It's kind of like quilting or something. We are a community, and so when you're painting with someone, like my friend Lucy's going to paint with me. She's 14 and she's in anime this week on Wednesday, and she goes off and she's looking at her phone and copying it, but I think we'll take the computer out so she can have a bigger thing. But she loves anime, so she's teaching herself how to do anime, right? And so I'm a facilitator. I'm not a teacher because it took me a long time to figure out what I liked. You have to figure out what you like. And so I'm doing this little cat. This is part of the shrine one. And I love whisk brooms. Whisk brooms are a totem for me. And a totem is another word for, say, like a talesman. And it represents cleanliness. It represents whisking away old thoughts. And so in my paintings, there'll be totems like scissors and tape and little things that are part of my life, my daily minutia of life. I'm not a, let's see, what am I? Like, if you were to describe my style, it would be advanced coloring book. I draw it and color in. Okay, it's pretty simple, but not. So I do it for pleasure. Someone was asking me, well, why do you bother painting? I'm like, it gives me pleasure. You know, and I feel that we have this Puritan work ethic still, that you have to hate your job or whatever, and I did not feel unique. I thought everybody did whatever they wanted, and it was until I was about probably 35 before I realized not everybody got to just paint or be a farmer or whatever they wanted to be. And so I feel I feel privileged. I feel really privileged. So I'm just going to start on this. And the one thing for me, for watercolor, there's not a lot of rules. I just do from back to front. So I got to do the under the table first, then I got to do the handkerchief first, and then I can go between the cat and the whisk. But I have to do some basic stuff, or it's harder to do later on. And this painting is very fresh. I drew it yesterday, and I'm really into happy cats right now. Okay, that's what I'm into. I did a whole mess more. I go through series. I do typewriters. I'm a commissions painter, so. Whatever I get to do, I'm grateful for. You know, people call me up from all over, and I get to do paintings. A lot of times I don't meet the people, but what's so nice with the phones and everything now, you can send them an image as you're going along, and they can say, oh, I hate that, I love that, or whatever, and it's fun, and they get to be part of the process. Because before, they just kind of had to wait, if I have a client in Michigan, until I finished it and sent it to them, and now you can send photos. It's like the miracle of technology. I ran my first printing press when I was 17 and did ads for the LA Times before they used photos. I did crisscross pen and ink drawings for the LA Times, and that was a blast, you know. And I was in Glamour magazine. I used to do advertising photos, but I didn't do the graphics. I just did the drawings. And at the market, where I was working as the artist upstairs, I would hand paint the fruit signs, fruit and vegetable signs, and people, this is when I knew that maybe I was going to be an artist full time. I always knew that, but I didn't know what it was going to look like. People would wait till the end of the week to buy the produce signs, and I sold them for $15, right? Because they laminated them, right? I thought $15 is good, and nobody ever questioned it. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money, right? I'm 17 years old. I had to lie, tell them I was 18, because whatever. And that's really the only last art job I had that was in a commercial setting. Everything else has been outside. But I learned a lot because the printing press has changed. Like, we had to squirt Van Dyke inks into the deal, all the colors we're going to use, and now it's little cartridges and little deals, and we had to set and put our type in this emulsion, you know, and I was always afraid my hair was going to get caught in the printer, and it was it was very messy, but it taught me the evolution going from how to get your work printed, right? Because I've been in the print industry with I had four publishers, I think: Portal, Mirage, Art Beats, and what's the other one? Portal, Mirage, Art Beats, in New York. I forgot the last one. Anyway, I've done over 4 million posters worldwide, maybe a little bit more. Containers of T-shirts, all that stuff. And the posters were fun, but then the printing industry changed, and so that changed. Artists could all of a sudden print their own work. you know, because it used to have to be on these big printers, and you had to have special photographs made, and it was quite expensive to make posters, and you had to make about 30,000 even to, you know, to keep your costs going in, distribution, etc., like that. So then the printing industry changed, and so these artists, we could self-publish. But the part about being self-published is distribution is always an issue. So, you know, if you like, oh, I'm going to make so much money, I'm going to publish these, and I'm going to make all these prints, just know distribution has to be, you know, someplace set in motion. I learned so much. I was in New York one time, and I was mad at my publisher because he owed me $50,000, and I was single then. And there's this really cute guy, and I thought his tag said Portugal. I'm thinking, whoa, and he comes over, he goes, would you like to have dinner with us tonight? I'm like, whoa, this is my great day, right? Okay. Because I'm in New York, I'm going to go on a date, right? So I meet at the place, and there's all these people sitting at the table, and it wasn't Portugal, it was Portal Publishing, which is north of San Francisco. And I'm like, whoa, I just think dyslexia or whatever. But then I ended up with a nice contract and worked with them for a few years, and it was lovely. And, you know, you never, I'm like I can't plan what being an artist looked like, because like I'm basically a soccer mom, but nobody thinks that because they think I only paint. Well, I had 5 kids, and I was a soccer mom, and I was a soccer coach, and because I had the privilege of working at home and being able to paint and stuff, I got to do all those things with my kids and paint too, and all my kids paint, because that's what we did. So this is pretty well down. I might have to touch it up. So I'm thinking that the cloth should be maybe a kind of a gray, and then this could be a red, but I don't know. I'll see what gray looks like. I don't use gray a whole lot, but it kept coming to me. The gray might be the color for the kerchief today. I think about it like when I go to bed, I think I paint in my sleep. I choose colors in my sleep. I don't know what you do, what your process is, but like after I have a drawing, I think about it and I'm thinking, well, what color is going to go with what color? And those are about the biggest decisions I have to make, okay? I sharpened 50 pencils before I started drawing, and I'm really have a system that works for me. And I have an eraser. I didn't used to be able to erase because I did everything in pen and ink, but then one day I got better paper. I used Arch's 300-pound cold press paper from France. I remember my first trip to Paris, I was going to get the paper cheaper. There's Tracy logic in a nutshell. I'll go to Paris and I'll be able to buy the paper cheaper. Now, it was a kind of expensive flight, but I learned a lot. And people in Paris, they're so great. I would be drawing on the streets, just hanging out, and people would throw roses at me, or $1 or whatever, or a franc, and it was fun. It was fun just to be an artist, hanging out and drawing parks and whatever. Because I do a lot of traveling, so wherever I go, I draw, because that's what I do. Let's see, what else? Water is just as important as the paint and the paper, and drying time. These are all very significant. Like, some people put water down first with watercolor, but I'm a control freak, so I put the water down second, and I have more control that way. I'm really into gray right now. I want a gray car. I want to paint my car gray, but that's really silly. I'd really like to do an art car. Our family's into that. I just got back from Florida Saturday. I visited my granddaughter, and we painted every day. She loves to paint with Grandma. She goes, "You're an artist." And I go, "How do you know I'm an artist?" She goes, well, whenever I go to your house, you're painting, Grandma, so I think you're an artist. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm a painter. I like to paint. And we paint together, and she likes acrylics. And that's what I can give her. I can't really give her a lot of other stuff because they get it all on the Google and whatever. We can make stuff together because there's so much plastic and everything. Let's make some stuff. So we made some, we hand painted nesting dolls. It was really a blast. So. When I'm painting, I listen to books on tape. Sometimes I watch movies, but I have to do movies where they're mostly talking. And so my girls will call me up. They'll say, "Is it a Pride and Prejudice day, Mom?" Because I watch Pride and Prejudice probably once a month because I like the repetition of it. I know I'm going to be painting for 2.5 hours. It's kind of a routine. Because one thing about being a professional artist that's different, I think, than being just an artist that just hangs out and whatever, and a mom is, you have to have discipline. And I used to think discipline was like a negative thing, but it's actually just the discipline of getting up and painting every day. You know, like I do better in the morning, but then sometimes now that I don't have kids at home, I'll take a nap, get up at 6, and then I'll paint until midnight, you know, and it's like really fun. And that's what I do. I'm on this new kick. If it's not silly, I'm not doing it. It's probably been that way for a long time, but now I'm more aware of it. I don't know, like that lady was saying, do you ever paint, you know, like intellectual stuff? And I'm like, one time I was in this group therapy class, not class, but group, because like, you know, like most artists, I have trouble figuring out how to go from A to B. I could go A, B, C, J, you know, and this one lady said to me about ripped her head off. She goes, "You should do art therapy and do a coloring book." And I did my first coloring book 22 years ago before the whole rage of coloring books. We sold thousands. It was so much fun, and I reprinted them a couple years ago. And I've been reprinting them every year, you know, 100 or 200, and they're still just as good as they were 22 years ago. And it's funny because I was always just a little ahead of the curve, you know what I mean? Because I look at the adult coloring books, which are rad and everything. It's just like, yeah, I did this already. You know, I did this. This was fun. We used to sell tie-dye bra and panties at the swap meet in Orange County. I mean, if we sold them now, we'd be making money. But back then, we were just a teeny bit ahead of the curve. It hadn't quite hit the new wave yet. My daughter is setting up a workshop with this guy that's been doing tie-dye for 50 years. When I go see her up in Humboldt in the summer, and we're going to learn some new tie-dye because we're a tie-dye family. The most people I've ever tie-dyed with is 600.
Oh, wow.
Kids in one day, and boy, did we have fun. That was at Los Ranchos Elementary, and when I came here, they let me do whatever I wanted, and I had all these kids in school, so I'd spend 4 to 6 hours a week doing art with all these kids and just having a blast. So it's like some of the moms would get a little tiffy because they go, like, "You're doing the fun thing," and I'm like thinking, if you don't like what you're doing, don't volunteer, right? I don't know. But the kids, the teachers always say, "Oh, you know, this one's going to be difficult." And the ones that were difficult, they're the ones that needed art so bad because they were so bored. And so we soon learned how to navigate that. And I also brought them good paper good paints, good palettes, because the reality is you never know when you're going to paint a masterpiece. You never know. And the teachers go, this paper is too good for the kids. I go, it's my choice. And I have a couple of those pieces. And they're beautiful, you know. I paid the kids, okay, I didn't just steal their art. So, you know, I've done live art shows with kids. That's been a blast. I've worked with Arts Obispo, doing a lot of things, but I'm not at Arts Obispo right now. That's okay. Because if you didn't get a resentment, you're not really human. They don't care that I'm mad at them. I'm nothing to them. So it's so funny. I came to San Luis Obispo 30 years ago. I had an art show at the Madonna Inn. A gallery guy up here had sent this show up, and I had 3 kids, and we were out in Edna Valley, and we drove by that tin building that's owned by Sextant now. And I said to my husband, I'm gonna rent this building. He goes, you're like crazy. I go, I know. So 4 days later, I drove back up to San Luis Obispo, found a guy. It was ramshackled. He goes, we haven't rented that place in 20 years. It's not for rent. I go, dude, I just drove all this way. I need this building. It'll probably save my life. Orange County's killing me. He goes, okay. So that was my studio. So I commuted 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and then moved my family up a year later. And I had my last 2 children in San Luis Obispo, 2 girls. And yeah, I've been here for a long time. Can't believe I've been here 30 years. It went by in a flash. This has been a good place for me to live. Yeah, I just paint. I paint when I'm talking on the phone, because I always have jobs. I'm a jobber and I get behind or whatever. But right now I'm doing this fun series for myself, and I'm sure that they'll find a home. I've been dating this guy, and it was so funny. I just finished this whole series of the cactus. There was like 20 pieces. He goes, what do you do with it? And one time he goes to me, are you on disability? I go, what are you talking about? She goes, well, how do you make money? I go, I'm just dumbfounded, because it wasn't part of his consciousness. He didn't grow up going to galleries or any of the...
That people could actually have a career with
their
their art.
You could have a career selling art. And I just laughed, because I've had a career selling art my whole life, you know, and so it's like, because I thought everybody could do it. And I think they can if they want it bad enough. And I used to work, oh my God, a lot, because I had those 5 children, and then my husband got sick and whatever, and so I worked hard. But I always got off work at 3 o'clock so I could goof off with the kids and go to the beach, because it's nice here. And if I didn't get the kids outside, it would be mayhem. And we had an art table. We always had an art table in the middle of the, like, I guess you call it the family room. Big round table, so all 5 kids could sit around it, and on it I'd set out papers and pens and tempera and whatever. And the boys, they would always start doing a drawing contest. This is the bewitching hour between 4 and 6, you know, the dinner time thing. So we called it the round table, and, you know, glue gun. My daughter, the best time, and Valentine's, we make Valentine's, and we were making Valentine's at the table one time. My daughter comes in, I think she might have been high, and she takes the glue gun, takes her rhinestone, puts it on the glue gun, and puts it on her head, and we're watching. And she goes, oh no! And she's ripping the rhinestone, and there's like just blood everywhere. But anyway,
That's one way to wax.
Yeah, oh, she was so funny, because she's like, has been using a glue gun since she was a little kid, right? So it's like, it's not like she didn't know that this was going to burn her, but I really think maybe they were just starting to experiment with pot then. And because her and her girlfriend did it together. It was, I almost wet my pants, because even I know they were in pain. it was done just so casually coming up the table. And yeah, and one year for Christmas I gave my daughter this is our family unit. I gave my daughter those blades, X-Acto blades, a whole set of them, and her brother goes, "Oh, so you gave her a suicide kit?"
Oh my God.
I mean, our family was not a reverent family, and one of my children, Cole, we call him critical. I'll be painting something. He goes, "Mom, you're going to have to do that over. Look at this, this, and this, and this." And I just hate him because he was right. You know what I mean? The kids knew more about my paintings than I did. So one year or before whatever, this is a long time ago, but they said, "Mom, how come you don't keep any of your paintings on the walls?" Well, one, I didn't know if they even liked my work, and I was kind of like a plumber, and it's like, you guys, then they told me they liked my work, and I put some stuff on the wall, and they go, "That's so cool," and because you didn't want to inflict it, and then I never had to buy a wedding present. I thought, I should buy wedding presents, and people, all they wanted was painting, so that was cool. And I traded for the whole time I've been here paintings for my dentist, so it's been good.
I love that.
It's like you don't have to, you can get your needs met by trade and barter and fun, you know what I'm saying? And like, I was part of the Monday Club for a while, and that was fun too, because we did painting, for fundraisers, we did painting parties, and anytime you can paint with people and just have a good time is so nice. I can't decide what color I'm going to make this yet, but it's okay, it has to dry so we can go on to the cat. So what color would the cat have to be? These are big decisions now. So I think I'm going to do an undercolor, and I'm going to start with a Verdite blue and a lilac, and do his belly. We're gonna go a little wild here. Might have a purple and a cream cat. I don't have one that color yet. I love anything Asian. I can't help it, I just do. I love the Asian dollar store, Diasimo, but we don't have any here. You have to go to a big city. So, see how I just brought the water to the color? I didn't like squish the color around. I just put the water in, and I just let it get down there, get a little heat at the bottom. Just touch it to the water. Let it do its magic. Because that's what watercolors are. They're just a little bit of magic. And so I was thinking about this whisk broom. I just think it'd be so boring if every color was the same. So that's not going to happen. There'll probably be some rainbow random colors that just start happening. I have a whisk broom collection. I have a collection of a lot of things. I have a Stegosaurus collection. I have an elephant collection. I collect Chanel bottles and miniatures and perfume bottles. I collect Buddhas. I collect beads and little things that I use as props. Like if I needed a wheelbarrow for a painting, I'd have a little wheelbarrow, and if I needed some cars or whatever, I have that. And this has been in a lot of paintings. I love this little toy truck. I love this truck. So
I love that you're using the miniatures for reference.
yeah, these are my props.
That's fantastic.
Like in this, whenever you want to do a sexy painting, all you have to do is put a hotel key and and somebody's having fun. So it's like, they're little totems. Like, these are all my old glasses, and so if I need a sunglass pair, to put in a painting with a book or something, or a pool, if I'm doing a summer painting, or I don't do nudes very often. Every now and again I will, but I gotta leave their socks on, right? So I don't know. a lot of people, they always tell me what they'd like to paint, especially my children, and I just say, you know, you're a really great artist, you do it. My son wants me to do a painting of an octopus and a crab fighting. Now this kid could draw anything, but he's been bugging me for years. Maybe one of his birthdays, one of these days, I don't know. All my kids can draw and do art at any time. And my daughter, she moved up to Humboldt, and she found out that she had anxiety around people. And she wrote me this letter, because I just would send them art supplies. I don't know what to do. Also inks. They have every kind of art supply known to man. And she started just bringing the art supplies out when people would come over to the house, to the table, and then they would start doing art. And she wrote me this letter, said, Mom, my anxiety is gone. Instead of just sitting there talking about nothing, we're doing art and making stuff and having fun. And it's like, because they went to the Valentine parties, they've done all that, but I didn't know that she had trouble with crowds. She just doesn't do well with crowds. I have a couple kids that are very bright. Well, okay, all my kids are smarter than me, but it's been difficult. It's challenging. So art was a way for them to calm down. When your brain goes so fast, you know what I mean? So that's what we did. We did art a lot, and that made me feel so good with my daughter, because if I had known about that, I would have maybe taken her to therapy, but I didn't know what it was. I mean, she used to cry all the time to go to school, but we knew she needed school, but it was really just all the kids. There was too many kids for her. But then she became a nice mean girl in high school, so that was fun. Whatever. I love my kids right now. I'm madly in love with my kids right now, and I can't always say that was the case. But they're all doing really well. So that's all a mom could want, right? So as you can see, this whisk room is going to start taking on its own life. Because, like, you know, most of us really don't like to do the dishes or clean the house, but if you think about it, you can make it fun. You know, use only the kind of brushes you like for the stuff, and get your special soaps. And I don't think life has to be a tyranny. Just don't think it does. And a lot of people don't agree because they need to suffer. And I'm not one of the kind of artists that really do well when I'm suffering. I'm like a happy artist. Happy-go-lucky idiot, probably, but you don't have to suffer all the time. Suffering is optional. But I do it a lot when I need to, okay? And I'm very good at suffering, okay? I don't think that I'm not suffering. I'm very good at suffering. I've got it down to a T. And this is what my kids say, Mom's being a crybaby. So I get a lot out of suffering. 0. So, you know, being an artist isn't like I thought it was going to be, smoking cigarettes, wearing, you know, suits or whatever, and being cool. I'm so not cool.
It's not?
No.
Don't tell me that now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just smoke cigarettes and the paintings just appear, and, you know, stand around columns acting like lanky and cool, like whatever, Tiffany or whatever.
Dang it, I thought that's what it was all about.
Yeah, no, I think you have to work. You have to work, but it's fun and profit. You know what I'm saying? It's fun and profit. It's doing what you love. And this is what I love. My one son paints now all the time, but he does it on computer, but he used to say, how boring just sitting around painting. And now it's like, I don't have enough time to paint and work too, and blah, blah, blah. So this is my life. Like when I go home today, I will be painting a little bit. I do have some activities planned, but basically I paint every day for a couple hours. I used to paint 10, 12 hours a day, but I don't do that anymore. So, because it's just life changes, you get older, get faster. But you just don't have to do it. I've decided I don't want to do anything in a hurry, which is not my nature. I'm an A-type personality. So I'm trying to slow down. Just trying to slow down and see what happens next. Because with this COVID thing, it's just been a little bit different for me. I've made money and everything. It's just been different. So I've been just trying to figure out what's next for me. What do I need, and what do people want? Not like, I'm not trying to second guess them as far as the kind of art I do. That's not what I mean, but intimacy, I think, and they want a story, and I like that. I like the story. This little. I was thinking, I was in Chicago, and I was at an antique store, and I saw this, and it was like $125, and I thought, I can't do 125. I had the money, but it was ridiculous. So I asked the lady if I could call the vendor, and we started up a conversation. I had him look at my website, and I said, I'll send you an 8x10 painting for that. And he goes, okay. So I get this really cool, trailer and car, and he gets a little painting, and I get to have a relationship with that guy from Chicago, and I never met him. We talked a few times on the phone, and when he got his painting, he was completely happy. I mean, because I didn't need that, but I wanted it. So by making a trade, I could justify it. And anything that I do buy, if I use it in a painting, totally justified.
There you go.
Totally justified. So that's another thing. The friend I date, he was always like, well, why are you buying that? Why do you care? Because I may use it in a painting. I have a paper doll collection. I paint paper dolls. I made a set of paper dolls. My first time I actually made the bodies, and they have to be braided together. Their arms and legs go up and down, and the head turns, and boy, that took a long time to figure that out. It's not like I was reinventing the wheel, but kind of I was. Oh, that reminds me, I got a job at Saks Fifth Avenue, a clothing line for a season, and my partners at the time said we need to get up a proposal. So I made paper dolls, one paper doll, and I made all the outfits that I wanted to make, and I gave him the green envelope. I said, go dude, and the next thing you knew, we were doing a line of clothing called Big Dilemma What to Wear, and it was all swimwear, and it was at the Boca Raton, Saks Fifth Avenue, and it was really fun. We went there for the opening, and it was really fun, and it was just a fun time to do, because I love fish, and I love snorkeling. I do a lot of fish paintings, and so the swimwear and stuff was all basically fish attire, and it was just, the swimsuits were really nice quality. It was just really fun, to have the opportunity to do something like that. Because it's not like, well, today I'm gonna wake up and call Saks Fifth Avenue and do a clothing line. No, but I didn't know how to do a proposal I'm gonna write a proposal. That probably wouldn't work. So, but the paper dolls, they were completely happy because they could see what everything was gonna look like. So that was like a smart thing. I saw the paper doll set the other day. I still have it in my collection. I thought, oh, I remember doing that. Or a friend of mine will send me a picture from a show or whatever. I go, oh, that's been a long time. My last show was maybe 3 years ago, and I don't know with COVID when the next show will be. I know a lot of people do the Zoom stuff, and they do the like we're doing now, but I don't know if that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I'm probably just going to keep being Tracy, and people are going to call me up, and I'm going to keep painting and see how it's just starting to come alive. You just do a little bit at a time, and it just starts to go back and forth. Watercolor is instant gratification. And when you're using really good colors like the Holbein, don't forget 35% off. So okay, so an average tube costs $16. My favorite color is $29 a tube. So that's really a good price. Because there's a color that even if you don't use Holbein, that nobody else makes. It's called Opera, and it's like seriously the best color ever made.
Is it a pink?
It's a pink, but it's like it makes a pure pink, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my favorite. That's my favorite color by Holbein. And one year there was a tsunami, but I didn't know that, and so couldn't find Opera through the way I usually ordered it. So I had to call. I got on the phone because I was freaking out. I only had like 2 tubes, so I had to call every art store. Well, not every. I probably called 25 art stores in the United States to see if they were sitting on any tubes of Opera. And I bought them all up. I bought like 25 tubes because they have a tsunami, but all I'm worried about is my Opera paint. I'm so selfish. That's embarrassing, really. That's really embarrassing. Okay, so yes, I am selfish. I'm a paint snob, and Eddie will know, like, I'll call her up. I go, dude, I'm out of this color. How fast can you get it? You know, but right now I'm really paint rich, and so I don't have to worry about it. But you're always welcome to call me up on my Instagram, which is Tracy Taylor _art. And if you have any questions about painting, or you want to do a paint party for you and a couple of your friends and paint with real paints and see how you like it, you know, hit me up. I'm not unapproachable. I'm very approachable. I think I'm very approachable. Okay, so maybe I'm not, but I think I'm very approachable, because art shouldn't be just for the artist. It's for everybody. Just get together and just do some art together, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We've had Valentine's parties since the kids were little, and then I stopped for about 3 years, and my girls were so mad at me, but I was tired. Sometimes 100 people would come, you know, and that's a lot of stuff to clean up. And we would just make Valentines, and just, that's like a genuine holiday. And then I was crazy about the Easter eggs, so can you imagine that? And they don't follow those traditions. They do the Valentines, but they don't do the Easter eggs. They do Halloween. I don't know. I was thinking about expectations of myself. I used to be really ambitious when I was younger. And it might have been because of the need. I left home at 16 and I had $45 in my pocket. And I thought I was rich. So you realize that I'm like a simpleton. And I just started working, painting pictures and making trades, sometimes for a chest of drawers or whatever. I do a little picture, and all our needs were met. There was never a time I was thinking about the gratitude that we went without. We didn't have electricity, car insurance, cars, all that stuff that you need, because I just kept putting art out into the environment wherever it was needed. This is a big stash for me. This is my stash. Because I've sold everything else I have going on. I mean, I might have some random pictures, but I'm not like, I'd have to look for them. I don't like know where all my art is all the time. You know, I have a sister who's an artist. She decided to be an artist at 45. She has a picture of her art. She has who she sold it to and for how much. And she has like a card catalog. And when I saw that, I got very tired. I got so tired, and so every year for many years I tried to keep a log like hers, and it would last about January 15th. Because it's just like, I just like doing the pictures. I'm not attached. I'm happy they go to good homes. I just like doing it. If that makes any sense to any of you artists out there, to any of you people, that it doesn't even matter. At the drawing part is just like have something to color in, because I love color. You know, I have a peacock blue that's just like to die for, you know, and that's a Holbein color. You know the old Schaefer inks? They had a peacock blue. Check this color out. It's the same peacock blue as the Schaefer inks. It's like incredible that they got that same color. And you can't make that. It's like, you know that color, not Peter Max, but it's that blue Maxfield Parrish.
Yes.
I have sat and looked at his original paintings. I've gotten his books and looked at it, and I cannot make that blue. I don't know if he mixed his own paints, which was very common in those days, and so he had his own recipe for the color, but I cannot make that color. And it's okay. I'm not like sad about it, but at the same time it'd be so cool if I could make that blue. And then they'd say, oh, you stole that from Maxwell Parrish, but you know, I don't think you could steal color, really.
No, color does not have a patent on it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe, but I could be wrong, you know. A lot of artists do not tell you their secrets. And I was always surprised by that when I'd be working with other artists. I go, how do you do that? Well, that's my secret. I'm like, okay, don't tell me your little secret. I'm going to live through it. Because, I mean, it's not like my painting would all of a sudden look like their paintings. The people are funny. Artists are funny. I used to think I didn't have an artist temperament. I have an artist temperament. And that's okay. And anything else, you know, you could Google me, and there's old prints on eBay, and I've been painting for a long time. I think it's 64 minus 14. What's that? 50?
Yep.
I've been painting for 50 years professionally, selling paintings. So it didn't come overnight. People say, oh, you had overnight success. No, it was one painting at a time, one drawing at a time. And I usually work on more than one because the drying time and stuff like that. And then I don't have to be like overwork a painting. So like if I look at this and I go, it's starting to get overworked, I'll grab this and just start working on this part right here. So it's like I don't have to be set with yes, you can just go from one painting to the next, and then you don't overwork it. I remember one time I thought maybe I was losing my eyesight, so I go to the doctors and he goes, what are you working on, Tracy? I go, I'm working on 2 9-foot by 5-foot oil paintings. He goes, well, how long have you worked on them today? Well, 10 hours. And he goes, you're not going blind, your eyes are tired. Just there's physicalities of doing stuff that when you get in the zone, if you understand what I'm talking about, once you start painting, all of a sudden you'll like been painting for 4 or 5 hours and there's something's wrong, like, oh, I'm hungry, or oh, I have to go to the bathroom. That zone is awesome. I go there sometimes within 5 minutes of painting, and then the day will just zip by, and I just think, wow, what? And I always had to set alarms to pick up the kids and stuff like that because the zone is there. So welcome to my world. I like my world. Holbein paints, trust me, you can get, just add more to the cost of your painting to have good paints. And only use your favorite colors. And trees aren't always brown. I was talking to my granddaughter, and she wanted to paint grass. I go, what color's grass? She goes, green. I go, what color green? And then we went outside and looked at the grass. I go, look at here, it's yellow. And I showed her it's green. So it's just becoming aware. I love to paint flowers, dahlias and hydrangeas and Gerber daisies, and I just love to paint. So I want to thank Art Central for this opportunity, and get yourself some good paper and paint, and hit me up and we'll do a painting together.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We really appreciate you doing the video today, and I love what you created, especially the broom part of it, having all the rainbow. Love it. Yes, yes. And come on in over the next 4 days to receive 35% off of Holbein paints with code Tracy mentioned at checkout. You must mention the code in order to get the discount. But thank you so much again, and we appreciate it. I'm going to conclude this live video, and if you guys have any questions for Tracy, do comment below.
Thank you so much.